Welcome back to Venture Unknown. This is Lore.
Oh, and I'm Alex. This is episode 2. I'm really excited to get in today.
Same
Lore,
here.
what have you been up to since episode 1?
School and stuff. The usual, doing homework, one of those daily naps, and my daily dose of coffee. So, yeah, pretty much it. And then we just got our break, and now we're back.
Yeah, how was your spring break?
It was pretty good. I spent time with my family, catching up, going out to eat, and especially since places started opening up again.
Right.
Like, it was just fun. It's like back to those good old days of going out and stuff, but
Yeah.
with restrictions, But how are you? How was your spring break? What you been up to?
Doing really well. I have a lot of work that I've been doing, but also I've had a lot of downtime, luckily, so I have just been playing video games, I've just been watching movies, and hanging out with my friends and my family. Reasonably, of course, because, COVID. But yeah.
I know. Oh, have you gotten your vaccine? Or not yet?
I have not. I don't qualify quite yet, but apparently starting the middle of April, anyone over 16 can get the vaccine. So I'm pretty excited about that.
I already got mine.
You got yours? Did you get,
Yeah.
Have you gotten 1 dose or 2?
I got my first dose. Next month, I get my second dose. Wait,
Congratulations.
no, this month now. This month, yeah, I'm like 3 weeks away. I'm not excited, to be honest.
Yeah.
I heard it's gonna hurt a lot more than the first one. I'm like,
Honestly, from what I've heard, because my brother is double vaccinated and the rest of my family have at least gotten their one, it really depends on the person. So it may be worse. Some people have said the first dose is worse, so, we'll see.
really?
I'm sure it'll be fine.
Because one of the nurses was like, "Oh, just to be honest, if you already had COVID, it's gonna hurt a lot more. It's gonna be more painful and stuff. Just letting you know." I'm like, "Why are you freaking me out, woman?"
Yeah.
I'm like, I wasn't even that scared in the beginning, and after that, I'm like, okay, I'm hella scared for the next one, but let's see how this one goes. It wasn't too bad, but 1 day of rest, and then I was fine the next day.
Well, for this week, we can sort of get into it. At the end of last episode, we sort of teased that we were doing music this episode. I typically like metal music. That's kind of the genre that I personally fall into. What about you, Laura? What's sort of the kind of music that you tend to like to listen to?
I like pretty much everything, but the most stuff like reggaeton and like rock and pop and stuff. But to be honest, after listening to both albums, I was just shook.
You were shook. Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to get in. I definitely have my own opinions about the 2 albums that I've listened to.
I have strong opinions.
Yeah. I'd say this is gonna make for an interesting conversation between the 2 of us, and I'm actually really excited to get into this. So we both listened to 2 albums each, and so Lore, what were the albums that you had recommended me?
I recommended Unleashed by Skillet and YHLQNDLD by Bad Bunny, which actually it stands for Yo hago lo que me da la gana, but in English it stands for I do whatever I want. Okay,
that's good. That's nice contextual information. I'm glad I have that because I do not speak Spanish.
Did you wonder what those letters meant, or you just thought he just probably randomly put those letters there?
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure. I thought it might have been an acronym. I had a feeling it had a certain meaning, but I wasn't quite sure.
Yeah.
It was a nice experience listening to music in a different language. I think they're
It was definitely speechless.
I'll definitely yes. Okay. I'll definitely talk more about it when it comes down to it. But for the albums that I recommended, Lore, I recommended Mesmerized by System of a Down, and I recommended Nectar by Joji. 2 very different very, very different artists.
Mm-hmm.
One being metal music, Armenian American metal music, and the other being Japanese Australian R&B. So we have a big treat for you guys to get into. A lot of diverse sort of music to sort of unpack and discuss today. Right off the bat, I want to start off with maybe Unleashed by Skillet.
Okay. I want to hear this.
Yeah, I am very familiar with a lot of different types of metal music, be it new metal, be it, traditional metal, post-hardcore, hardcore, metalcore, deathcore, stuff like that. I have actually heard Skillet before, not this album. I heard their mid-2000s Awake album at a certain point, and so it was interesting to go back and revisit Skillet with their Unleashed album. I have mixed feelings about it.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
So there were a lot of good things about this album, and I want to get into those. But there were certain times where I felt it sounded very repetitive. The messaging was very, very repetitive. Tracks 1, 2, 5, and like a couple of the other tracks on the list.
You say the whole album.
No, it's not. It really isn't the whole album. But there are a lot of repetitive sort of messaging in there, which to me, when I was listening to it all at once, because I listened to it all at once, if I hit shuffle on Skillet's thing, I probably wouldn't have this opinion. But because I listened front to back, it started to sort of blend together. However, I think there are a lot of good things about this album too. So that was sort of the weakness of this album, is some of the messaging felt blended together. The positives, the chorus of most every song was really good, really, really catchy. It really, it's something that you just repeat over and over again in your head. There were certain tracks where some of my favorite tracks off of the album were ones where they didn't go super metal, super rock, super, Stars was a good one. It was because John and Corey, the two vocalists, John being the lead singer and Corey being his wife, the female guitarist, when they harmonized together on a track, Stars was when they first started doing it, or at least when I first noticed it. It was amazing to hear. I really liked. I think one of my notes even says, "Give Corey the band," the female vocalist. I really like whenever I really
like her voice.
Her voice is so unique, and I think it's nothing against John's vocals. He has a really nice, powerful metal voice. But to me, it's a sound that sort of I'm really familiar with. Five Finger Death Punch having a very similar in tone sounding vocalist. But her voice, Corey Cooper's voice, very, very unique, very powerful, yet like easy on the ears. Every time she was on the track singing, it felt super nice. There were some songs where instruments sort of felt washed out, and that's a criticism I have with a lot of metal music, not just Skillet. There's a lot of metal music that even I love, where I'm sort of disappointed with how the instruments are mixed into the track. But there are also some really good songs where the instruments were amazing. One of my favorites in terms of instrumentation and in terms of mixing was that last song, The Resistance. I think the end, there was a part where the song cuts, and then it like goes into a completely different part of the song, and it blew me away. I really liked that part of the song. It was really creative. The guitar work was really nice to listen to. It completely ended the album on a strong note. I really enjoyed that part. So this is in no way, when I have these criticisms against, the album, it is in no way to say that it is by anywhere near a bad album. I enjoyed overall my time listening to the album. There are some certain things that, I didn't like about it, but I don't think it's a bad album.
Don't blame you at all.
Yeah. And so, you know, there are bad things, or, you know, there are negative things to say about any piece of work, because art is subjective. But I do really see the value in this type of music, you know? So, I think because I am, you know, sometimes I can consider myself a metal elitist, you know? Kind of really pompous when it comes to metal music. I like when there's a specific messaging behind the music, when there's intent, and when there's more of a specific message instead of like a broad, like, don't let people keep you down, which is why I like System of a Down, because a lot of their songs tackle like very specific messages. However, I do think there is a place in music for that messaging, and I think that messaging is important, because I do think that
I agree with you on that.
Yeah,
message.
I do think having the generic message to speak to people of, don't let people keep you down, try and break free of the oppression that you feel, I think that's important, and I don't want to take away from that. So I really do overall like this album, and so that's my opinions. But what about you? What's sort of your take on this album? Why did you choose to recommend this one to me?
Because it's one of my favorites, and like also the messages, like I like what each has behind it. I feel like there's some sort of like strength, or like, I don't know, like makes you feel powerful in a way. Like it's good music to just chill, or like to like work out. That's why I like this album. It's just like, I don't know, it gives you motivation, just, and I like the beats as well. So yeah. But I never really noticed that part that was kind of repetitive. I never catch that.
Yeah.
And that's interesting to hear. I'm like, what? I should listen to the whole album again.
But I think it's totally valuable, and I think it's totally valid. Like, I actually do completely agree. This would be great workout music, because the messaging is just clear, like, stick to your guns. It's very broad messaging. It's very much, it's not like saying, it's not talking, like, System of Down talks about the Armenian genocide and criticizes America's invasion of Iraq and Afghanistan. But that's what I would consider specific messaging.
Yeah, going on with that, with the whole Memorize album from System of a Down, you're right. There's a lot of messages within this album, but like for me, like I guess you were right. It's like the metal was like a whole other level for me. I usually listen to metal music, but this is like a whole other level. I don't know how to explain it. But like for me, it was like, oh my god, like what am I listening to? No offense.
No, none
like
taken.
you were definitely right. Like this is so different for me. Like it was just hard for me to listen to it. I'm sorry.
No, you don't have to apologize at all. I think that this is actually why I recommended you this album, is because it's my favorite.
No, great artist. I love the whole like the beats and stuff like that, the guitar. I loved it. It was just too metal for me. Really? But I do have one song that I actually like. I guess because it started off kind of slow in the beginning, and it wasn't like hardcore.
Right.
Like, which one was it? It was Lost in Hollywood. I don't know, like something about that one was just like, it's just like, okay, it slowed down a bit.
Yeah, definitely.
No, it was pretty good. Even though it was probably a little hard to like listen, but overall, I feel like the artist did a great job with the whole messages and stuff. It's just for me, I think for my music taste, I'm not that hardcore with the whole metal stuff. Like I'm more into rock and stuff and metal, but like I feel like it's like a whole different level for me. It was too high up.
And what about Mesmerize put you off? I'm interested.
I think it was the beginning. I don't remember anymore because it's been a while already to listen to it. But I think for me, it started, I don't remember if it started slow or fast in the beginning.
It started.
It was just like, I can't explain it. But it's just like, it just set me off right away. Like, in a way I didn't want to listen to it anymore. I'm like,
If I had to guess what it was, because it starts off, if I remember correctly, Mesmerize starts off with the Soldier Side intro, which is a very calming, soothing, melodic song. It's just the chorus of their sister album Hypnotize, which came out afterwards, which is actually a continuation of the Mesmerize album. That has so this is Soldier Side, the intro, that one actually has the song Soldier Side, which is like an actual metal song. But then it goes into BYOB, Bring Your Own Bombs. And that starts off a very aggressive, very screaming, like, unconventional.
Exactly. I was like, it was just, okay, I'm gonna pull through. I'm gonna listen to it. It was hard. It was so hard.
I apologize.
I had expectations. I'm like, I'm gonna love this and all that stuff. And next time I'm listening to it on my bed, I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, I definitely with Mesmerize with System of a Down, I wanted to get something, because this is an album that I really find a lot of value in. I love the messaging, but I'm self-aware enough to understand that it's not something that is palatable to a lot of people, who, especially those who don't listen to different types of metal.
Yeah, I never listened to this type. It was just so new to me. I thought I would like it.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Like, I really want to like it, but it just did not click, unfortunately. But pretty good artist though. I feel like they did a great job, honestly, in my opinion, with the whole metal and stuff like that. And overall, but it was not my cup of tea. I don't think I'll listen to it again, but I think I will listen to Lost in Hollywood again.
Fair enough. But yeah, there is definitely a reason I recommended you this album, and that was because it displayed a wide variety.
You know what you were doing.
I did know. Yes.
I feel like from what you just knew, like, yeah, that's how she's gonna react. I sensed it in a way. I'm like, she's not gonna like it.
Yeah, I definitely wanted to give you I wanted to give you something, not with the intention of you not liking it, but with the intention of you not having heard it before, with the intention of you being like, whoa, and having an opinion from someone who genuinely who genuinely hasn't listened to like something like System of a Down, you know, which is a very unique sound. Even my friends who are into metal, I have showed them BYOB, which is the song that puts you off immediately, and they were like, whoa, that was weird. Like they you know, so I wanted to give you something that you could, that would create an interesting discussion, and I feel like we've accomplished that. So
moving on
to Bad Bunny.
Okay, this is the one I really want to know. How did you feel? What's your opinion? Give me the weaknesses. What you didn't like about it. I want to know the bad first.
The funny thing is, the only thing bad I have to say is that some of the songs some of the songs just sounded a little repetitive. Like it sort of blended together.
What?
And here's the thing.
Okay. Repetitive.
I am not trying to sit here and say that it's a repetitive album. By no means. What I'm saying is that there are certain parts of certain songs that feel like they belong at other songs. Like just certain, and I think it's partially because I've only listened to the album once. I have this even with English spoken albums where songs will blend together. I had that problem with Nectar by Joji at first. But I think the other part is due to my ignorance of the Spanish language and the fact that I don't know Spanish, and so I can't fall back on the lyrics to help me create a defined part of each song, if you know what I mean. I'm solely focusing on the sound and how it sounds. But let me just say, it is definitely my favorite of the two. It is a really nice sounding album. Loved a lot of the songs that I heard on it. Like literally every song I at least liked. I think I think Bad Bunny, his lower register voice as seen on songs like, pardon my butchering of the Spanish language, BTL, his lower register singing, beautiful. His anytime he is actually melodically singing, beautiful. And when he's rapping, he flows so well on the beat. You can tell he's having fun with it. You can tell he's just riding the wave. But I think where he really shines is with his features. On something like La Santa with Daddy Yankee, they really played off of each other super well. It was really like a nice back and forth between both rappers, and it really added to the experience of listening. So I really enjoyed that. There was another song, Yo Pereo Sola.
All-time favorite.
It's really good. I loved it. It didn't. There was no feature list on Spotify, so I believe the female vocalist was sampled from another song. But that sampling of her voice really popped. The entire track, like, it stood out so much because of that sample, and the chorus was just so nice on it. It was music to my ears.
Oh yeah, everyone's like disappointed because nobody could listen to this at the club because it's like the most like the song that you could dance to.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just happy with COVID. Well, hopefully soon.
Exactly. It is a really solid album in terms of sound. I really like the fact that it was sung in Spanish. Did not put me off in any way. Now it may have contributed to my feelings initially of the song sounding pretty samey, but I also have that problem with a lot of English sung albums within the similar genre that Bad Bunny is in. So it doesn't necessarily have to do with it. Like, I don't think it being in Spanish detracted it for me in any way. I think this is definitely an album that I will come back to. This is definitely it. Bad Bunny really knows how to create a vibe, really knows how to create just like a space to put you in, and I think that's incredibly nice. But what about you? What sort of, what made you sort of recommend this album to me?
Because it's different, and like you said, like there's Spanish and stuff, like you're not you don't speak that much of it. So I'm like, let's just try this challenge on Alex and see how it goes.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah. So yeah, I decided to choose one of those, especially since they're one of the most popular ones. And I have friends that do not speak Spanish that actually like this album. So I'm like, let's just give it a chance on Alex if he'll like it. Like my other friends that are non-Spanish speakers and stuff. Right. But yeah, although one of my favorites for sure. I really like the messages behind it because technically talks about like women empowerment in a way in his album.
Really?
Yeah, it actually does. Like one of them, like let's see, one's about like a mom like overcoming some obstacles, and then there's another one about how like the music industry is and how some male artists take advantage of some females, like female backup dancers and stuff. And he talks about it straight out, like calling them out in one of these songs, which I really like the messages about. Like, damn, like he's not holding back.
Yeah, that's really,
like, he's definitely not holding back. Like, he's just going all out for it.
That's definitely something that's really nice to hear. It's something that makes me want to go back and listen to the album with the English translated lyrics up.
Yeah, but it's so funny with Yo Pereo Sola. Like, he talks about, like, you don't need a man and stuff like that. Like, you could just go out on your own with your girlfriends and stuff. And you could still have a good time. And what's funny, though, in his music video, he literally dresses like a woman.
Really? Oh, you know what? When researching Bad Bunny, I did actually see him dressed. I had figured it was for a music video, so that is for Yo Pereo Sola.
Yeah, like, he just did not care. He just did it.
I like that.
Like, he's just over the whole, because I guess there's been, like, a story, like, in Mexico, I guess, like, some guy just, like, a girl, and sadly he was murdered because of it, because I guess, it's just suckish, when that happens, and people don't accept that. Like, everyone has their right to do or be whoever they want, but and he's calling them out on that, too. Like, he just does not care if people like call him like, oh, like you're probably gay then you like dress like this and that. Like, no, like you can do whatever you want.
Exactly. But I think that's a really respectable message overall.
Yeah, that's what I like about that, but and the messages about that. Yeah. Moving on to Nectar.
Nectar by Joji.
By Joji, right?
Yeah.
I like the name Joji.
Yeah.
It's so it was so mellow. I don't know why. Nectar, it was just relaxing.
Mm-hmm.
So different
Really?
from the other album that you made me listen to. It went from like hardcore to like, okay, like, I'm vibing. I've never listened to Joji before until I encountered one of his songs. What's it called? I think it's the Give Me Love one.
Give Me Love, yes.
Yeah, because I've heard it before on TikTok.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's the artist that sings that song?
There,
I did not expect that.
yeah, I think Joji has become a household name. He actually used to be a YouTuber that goes by the name Filthy Frank.
Really?
Very, very controversial YouTuber. But everything he did as Filthy Frank was satirical. Have you ever heard of Pink Guy and the Pink Guy season, or like Pink season?
Mm-mm.
And
No,
that was a satire take, or like a satirical like character that he made. But he made an album that like blew up as that character, like just playing the ukulele and singing dumb songs about like Nickelodeon girls and whatnot.
Oh my god.
But like, yeah, so Joji's definitely a very like, you know, he used to be very in his own corner of the internet, but with the release of his first album, Ballads won, and with his second album, Nectar, he's solidified himself as like an actual serious household name. And so I'm interested to see sort of how you feel.
I've never expected that he was a YouTuber and stuff like that. I did not know that. I thought he was just like any other artist, like one of those mellow ones.
Yep.
But pretty good music. Love the lyrics. Love the beats. Just like, it's just good just to vibe with. You have like a relaxing day. But yeah, why did you choose this album, by the way? Because I don't know how to explain it. So different from the metal thing. Like, how did you like encounter this album? Like, why did you recommend this one? For me, it was just so weird. Like, did Alex recommend it? Because I actually thought it was gonna be another metal hardcore one. I'm like, okay, I have to go through another album.
Yeah, another album like that.
But this is so different.
Yeah. So my music taste is actually very, very eclectic. I can go from even heavier metal. Like, I don't consider System of a Down that much metal music. Like, it has very, like, I mean, it is obviously metal music, but like in the traditional sense, like I would consider like Slipknot, like that's heavy metal music, or like, well, it's new metal technically, but you know what I mean. That's when people think of like, oh, that's a lot. Like, yeah, I would say so. I can go from like very, very, you know, heavy to the common listener musicians like Slipknot, and I can also do like Joji. I can appreciate, you know, Paramore.
Oh, I love Paramore.
Paramore's amazing. I love, so I can, Hayley Williams, Hayley Williams is amazing. But I really like a lot of different types of music, and Joji is someone, he's very famous now. He's completely ditched the YouTube moniker. He is not like a YouTuber. He stopped being a YouTuber a long time ago. He solely makes music. Like, he's an actual serious artist.
Like other YouTubers and stuff. I feel like you can do it for fun or for just like get attention. It's kind of ridiculous.
Exactly.
Like, no offense, like you want to expand your talents and stuff and skills, but like just for like the clout. No.
There are some YouTubers who really do it, and like it just doesn't. You can tell that they're not like, they don't want to do it, or they're not like talented to do it. Joji has both. He's talented, he's worked hard for it, and he loves to do it. So I think in that regard, I really appreciate Joji. I also think it's a sound that everyone can sort of get behind.
For sure. His voice.
He has a really nice singing voice.
Oh, for sure.
And so that's sort of why I recommended this album, is because especially after something very divisive to the common listener as System of a Down. Nectar is a nice palate cleanser. It's palatable to a lot of people. Whereas System of a Down has its core audience and core people who love them. But, you know, in terms of general, like, if you pulled someone off the street and showed them BYOB, they would probably have the exact same reaction that you did. Completely fair. And so I think it offered a nice juxtaposition to the album that I recommended before. And I think it was something that you would enjoy. I wanted to at least give you one thing that you would enjoy.
I actually did enjoy it. I'll for sure be listening to the Joji or the Nectar album again. I'll probably even look at his other songs.
Well, I'm really excited for next episode because we will be talking about movies, and we will only be doing two movies this time. But I'm excited to dig into that. I recommended Lore Jojo Rabbit.
And I recommended Alex When Angels Sleep.
So
that should be interesting.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. Mine will be like very like it's like mystery, like kind of like horror a little bit, not too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't wait to hear your comments and your perspective on it, because I'm still with like, huh? I was like, what happened in the end?
Right.
So hopefully, listening to your opinion, it'll probably like clear up like any like conclusion like what I missed last time I watched it.
Maybe we'll see. I don't know.
We'll see, or maybe we thinking the same thing.
Sometimes messaging like that, bigger stuff like that, can fly over my head.
That's all I can say for now about that movie.
Yes, and I'm excited to watch that. I'm also excited to hear your opinion on Jojo Rabbit. I love that movie. It's one of my favorite movies. So we'll see what next episode has in store for us.
I'm so excited to watch it. I just eat popcorn, just chill. No more hardcore metal.
Yeah, no more. This is something I think you might enjoy, and I hope you will enjoy.
Yeah. And that concludes today's podcast episode. Thank you for listening.
And this is Venture Unknown signing off.